Hello everybody
And welcome
to the next episode of
Israel
Unleashed.
And welcome today. How are you?
Okay.
How's life? Everything good?
Yes, I hope.
Wonderful. So today we're going to talk about apartheid, the so-called apartheid, as the media portrays us out to be an apartheid state apparently here in Israel. And honestly, I have a problem with this, because I think it's a one-sided view, and it's, I think personally the media has an agenda. And, you have a lot of people who are anti-Israel and stuff like that. You have like the UN, you have certain governments, you have what they call the Durban Conference in South Africa that's what I think is completely anti-Semitic, and it's nothing but a conference to talk about how bad Israel is, All right, we're not perfect, Neither does anybody else, But the fact that, people see one-sided views about what goes on in what they call the Palestinian territories and stuff like that, I think we have a right to defend ourselves, And honestly, if we don't do anything in the what we call the West Bank, it's going to look like Gaza, Israel's only so big, And if you don't patrol these people and basically handle yourself amongst people who want to kill you, and they do it daily, they could do a lot worse than what they're doing now. And I'm not saying it's a good situation, and it's not something we really want to do, but we have no choice. This is how we have to protect ourselves. And and we live in what we call a neighborhood that's an unfriendly neighborhood that's very hostile towards us. And not just us, they're hostile to one another. If you look back what's going on in the last 12 years, you've had a civil war in Syria, you have the crisis in Lebanon, which is a country on the verge of collapse, and God knows what can happen out of that, because that's not going to be pretty. And
I think that we as the Jews, God promised us this land, right?
Right.
And the non-Jews are not going to provide us this land.
True.
So the only thing we did is to come here and start to live our lives peacefully.
True.
Right? So basically, it's our sin.
This was the intention from the beginning. But
no, it's actually intention right now also.
Also now too, yeah.
So and we had no problems with Arabs around us, and actually we provided them workplaces and good relationship with them. And after several times that Arabs nations started wars against us, right? We chosen to protect ourselves, not to give them this opportunity to slaughter us like we did the centuries before.
Right.
And actually, God gave us this courage to protect ourselves and to show those nations that we are not worse than them, and we also have the right to live. And what they are doing today is to take this legitimacy from us to continue to live here and to present us as animals and to hate us for this trying to live here. That's all. And they call themselves Palestinians, and we understand they have hard times to live where they live, and the government are so not respectful for them, but try to understand us. We are trying to protect our children from their terrorism, and we cannot consider them more than we consider ourselves. We as Jews are important to ourselves. We are more important to ourselves than them. They are also human beings, but they are human beings who hate us. So, and they have do not have this right to hate us. Seriously.
I agree.
I tell you to your face, we are Jews and we here because God gave us this land. That's it. You can't accept me, not accept me, but this is fact. And people who non-Jews who respects me, I respect them, and the opposite. That's all.
Well, what's interesting about this whole situation, you asked the Arabs, like, what kind of currency they have, where their capital is, what's their flag, and what kind of history you have and stuff like that. They can't answer these questions, you know what I mean? And who were the original Palestinians? The Palestinians were the people who come during the Mandate time, because of the area was called Palestina.
Listen.
Because they were called Palestina, people were called Palestinians. The people who were called Palestinians were Jews. The people that call themselves Palestinians today were Arabs, and they're still Arabs. And you basically have through a lot of times where they've tried to take our history. They try to say the Temple Mount and the Tomb of the Patriarchs in Hebron is theirs, and then you have the world body of like the UN and stuff like that. It acknowledges that, even though we don't. And this is an ugly situation that's gone on for the last 100 years, and it's because of
you can see it as it's ugly as it seems. We are trying, the Jewish nation trying to live in Israel land. It's something that God wants, and people around us
don't
want, and they have different motives to that. Some of them had another religions. Some of them hate Jews. Some of them, feels pity towards Arabs. And it's all okay. It's all okay. We are all different, and we may choose every direction we choose. But we as a Jews, you decided not to accept us as equal human beings, and we understand it right now, and we are so understand that we don't have our way to act, but to take this land and protect it from people who hate us, and we came into conclusion that you are we as a human beings, we are not responsible enough to maintain peace between all of us, and we have the responsibility to take care of ourselves. Hopefully that God will, through the guidance of God, and He wants us to do this, and He wants us to take this land and use it in the best ways we can. But if you as a nation would accept us, okay, and understand that we are not enemies to the humankind, we are how do I say it? We can guide you how to act. You can learn from us how to be better. If you are not against us, you have a blessing. If you stop treating us as enemies, you may have the chance to change your ways. If you understand all of that, you will stop to be against us. We all will have blessing. Us, Arabs, English, Russians, all of us.
It'd be nice.
It will be nice.
Change the face of how things are run these days.
So please understand. So try to understand. If you won't understand, it's also okay, because we're used to the fact that you don't understand us.
That is true too.
Unfortunately, that we will do everything to maintain this land to ourselves, and of course we are treating Arabs respectfully. We are the Israeli has lots of Arabs inside of it, and they are
in many sectors of life. Honestly, got
Equally respected.
Yeah, I mean,
okay?
you have justices in the Supreme Court. You have people.
Doctors.
You have doctors and nurses and lawyers.
Lawyers.
And you have Arabs that are in today's government, which is like they've always been in the government, but in the actual government that's running the country today, and that's a historical thing. And you have a lot of Arabs that live amongst us, man. And where we live, we're surrounded by many villages, and we go freely to them, and they come freely to us, and they work in our town. And some of us work in their town, but I mean, it's not a big thing. But
we cannot say that we are happy to be among them. That I can tell you honestly, because where I saw many of them has problem with us. Okay. And it is hard to separate the good and the bad. I met Arabs who have respect for Jews, but you understand, as when you have those people behind them to tell them that one day this land be theirs, it's a problem for us. And we, as the Jews who believe in Torah, we understand the problem is going to be, and we are obligated to stop it. So I'm thinking that we should continue to respect them, but we can find people who are actually against us and want with time to take this land from us, and want to be this country to become how do you say it, like non-Jew country
Sure.
of and it's not all right, and it's not
I mean, if you look at a map and you see the Arab world and you see Israel, I mean, Israel's a pinprick compared to what the Arab world actually looks like.
I don't think about those things.
I don't think about those things either, but I mean,
because I understand their thought that this all the world should be theirs. They also have thoughts like this.
That's true.
But I'm talking. I don't think they have a problem with territory. They have enough territory to them, but I don't think about those things about territories, because I think that the humans can take this world and provide territory to every people. But my point is that we as a Jews, we are obligated to live here, to come to here, to make Aliyah, and obligated to all the mitzvahs, and not give our enemies the chance to exile us once again outside of Israel, or eliminate us. So we are we should all seek for risks those people are presenting to us. I'm not saying we should be not good for. We learned from the Holocaust how to not to be racist, but also we are obligated from the Holocaust how not give us our enemies the chance to destroy us. So we work on two directions at the same time. You understand? So our obligation is so complicated, and so true. You understand in these high levels that and all the world are expecting us to do all kinds of mistakes that we can do in each way. So we're not expecting from you to understand us fully, but I want to tell you that we are trying all our best and all the ways to achieve our goals, and willingly will do it.
Another thing, a lot of people don't talk about is how much we help them, man. Honestly, and how much they help us. I mean, it's not something that's publicized, And we give them a lot of humanitarian aid, and we have a lot of them that come over and work here amongst us and live here amongst us.
But the things that
sometimes we even give them citizenship, surprisingly.
Listen, our problem with them is not we sincerely have a compassion towards their problem. They are living in poverty, controlled by the terror guys, right? By the terrorists, by the Hamas, by the, how do you call it, the Palestinian government.
Palestinian Liberation Organization.
All of them want terror. They
Yeah.
want to not improve their lives, nothing.
I can't remember the last time one of them even remotely said, let's try to make peace this way, and they've come forth.
No, they mentioned those words, but
I mentioned those words, but I not once have they ever come forward to say, like, let's try to do it this way, and we'll work with you. Or they don't want to work with you at all. I mean, I even heard like a politician in the Israeli government say it's just a cocktail party. When they need money, they come, they make deals, and then they start again. You know what I mean? And yeah, and like they do hold their people hostage and stuff like that. I mean, here recently, within the last couple of weeks, you've seen that a lot of younger people want to get rid of Mahmoud Abbas and put somebody of new power in because he's corrupt. And he's taken he's a billionaire. He's taken billions upon billions of their money that they could use for themselves.
yes.
To make whatever they need to make.
Their society is evolving. They understand they don't cannot afford themselves to keep like a guy like Abbas.
Exactly. They're
in the
tired
government.
a lot of the people are tired of the situation because they want to live their life.
But they don't understand enough the meaning of living beside Jews. They don't understand it. They still continue to think they can exile us,
Right.
And this is a problem, and we as a responsible Jews understand it. We are not closing our eyes, we are not stupid. It's time that we were stupid and had no words, it's over. That's it. From those days, from 70 years ago, and to the times of Mashiach, we are using our heads right now. And there are so much things to handle, but if you think we are running apartheid here, you are mistaken, because we treat Arabs with a large amount of respect, and it is their choice to understand right now who Jews are. The minute they understand the Jews are equally to them, and they can see as an example to them. This is exactly the minute when we started to live in peace with them. This is the minute when they think that they can control us by terror or shoot at us, and this is the way we're going to understand it. No, it's an animal behavior. No. This is going to be over. I don't know how time will it take, but we are how do you say it? Strongly, we are so defined ourselves to be brave and courageous and go till the end, till the days of Messiah, not giving up about our obligation to live here. So we will not give them this chance to take control on us, and still we respect them as a human beings, and still we obligated to give them their rights, and still we want them to evolve into something better and give them the chance to succeed in our society still. But remember, God promised this land to us, and this is the reality. It is going to continue this way and be better. Remember this, please.
Nice. No, I agree with you.
Speech from Eli, man.
Exactly, speech from Eli. No, I agree with you. But, I think you have a lot of people who are in power, and you have a lot of like in the Arab world, a lot of people who are like, I don't want to say uneducated, but they can't read, they can't write, and that's a lot of because of the situation that goes on amongst them. You know what I mean? And it's easy to extort people sometimes. Like, you have people that, like, you have like the pay for slaves kind of like thing going on where like, the more Jews you kill, the more money you're going to make and stuff like that. And then people, they're in a poverty situation with no job, and they have family, they have kids to feed. I mean, they're no different. They're Semitic people just like us. You know what I'm saying? They've been living here for a long time. We've been living here. None of us are going to go anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. I don't expect them to. Honestly, we just want majority of Israelis just want us and them to live with each other, and be cool and move on in life. And I mean, honestly, if we would work together, kind of powerhouse this country would be compared to the whole Middle East. If like we work together with them and they work together with us. I mean, the last 20 years the Middle East has fallen apart. I mean, like more than ever. I mean, and you see it more and more on the news. But the problem is that like these people scream so loud it drowns that out. A lot of people aren't seeing that. I mean, they're not seeing ISIS in the Sinai and in Syria and in Iraq and the crisis in Lebanon and what Iran's doing and the war in Yemen and what's going on with Saudi Arabia and the Gulf and all, states and all that stuff. People aren't seeing it. And they only focus on this situation and stuff like that. But, these people have their own government. They've had since 1993. Since they've done the Oslo Accords and stuff like that. We're not in charge of them. They run themselves. But people want to blame us for everything because, they feel that, like, we run them and we don't run them. They have their own government. Now, I think their leaders try to extort certain situations, like when we build walls or we do certain policy or we run certain events inside their territory to stop people from doing bad things. They extort that, and that's what makes us like in a bad light. But another thing, like the Israelis and the Israeli government really doesn't say anything to make people understand that or combat that. They just leave it as is, and then people make a negative opinion against us. Which is uncool because sometimes you hear it so much it bothers you. Like, I'm a good person, at least I try to be. And I've not done nothing wrong to the world, or I've never done nothing wrong to these people. Why do they treat me like this? But they've turned hate into a business. They've turned death into a business. This guy, I don't expect him to go anywhere. The guy who gets billions of dollars from people around the world. Would you leave? If you were greedy and power hungry, you're getting people paying you, man. Why would you, if you were like that, why would you leave government? Yeah, that guy ruins this whole situation. Extorts the situation on hand. Yeah. Ever since like the beginning of the state, and this is when the problems arose, that we've had problems with them, And it goes from generation to generation and it hasn't been fixed, and it's hard to say if it's getting worse or if it's getting better. You have people who, like, let's just live with each other, and then you have people that, let's destroy them, let's kill them, and, do what we need to do. And I don't know. Some people got time. They work on you little by little and whatever, but, honestly, no one's going nowhere. I don't expect them to get up and be like, go to Jordan and stuff like that. I look at it like this. If Israel wasn't here, they wouldn't even have a country either. Jordan took over in the 40s and stuff like that, what we call the West Bank today, and Egypt owned Gaza and stuff like that, and we liberated those lands in the 60s, and now we're in charge of that situation. It's our headache, but it was originally their headache for those countries, And, you have other people who've extorted the whole cause of the whole Middle East through propaganda and made hatred and stuff like that and whatever, and extorted the hell out of the situation to put one group of people against the next people, because wars make money, and there's lots of oil here, and that made money too. So, the world is heavily involved in this area if people don't believe that or not. They tend to, you ever notice when we even talk about peace, and there's going to be some sort of conference about what kind of violence takes place before that happens, if not after that happens? Just mentioning that makes that happen. I don't think people ever realize how interesting that is. That doesn't like make you ask questions. The funny thing is, if you want to blame somebody, you can blame the British, you can blame the French, you can blame the UN. They're the ones who made the borders. They're the ones who separated this group of people to that people. There are groups of people in the Middle East that don't have a state, like the Kurds, for example. They haven't had a state, and you see them getting slaughtered in Syria and Iraq and in Turkey. Turkey's basically running that battle. They're genociding those people, and ain't nobody saying a word about that. And all these people want to do is live too.
Well, you have lots of problems in the world, and all those problems have to be fixed sometime. what can I say? Every region, every area has its own minorities, and not respecting the rights of those minorities are also a problem. And slaughter minorities and not giving enough respect for the minorities, it's a big problem. What can I say? Right, if the nations and the countries were righteous and they had justice inside of them, they would handle those problematic countries. And they are instead of handling it, they make a focus on Israel, right?
Israel's to blame.
Israel's to blame, right?
No, it's an easy scapegoat to blame us for a lot of things and stuff. When I notice the people, when they can't blame us, they have difficulty accepting the fact that we're not involved anyway. You know what I mean? I don't know. I've been living here for 20 years, and I'm sitting there watching what's going on outside of Israel, like crumble before my eyes. You know what I mean? I don't want to say I don't sleep at night about what's going to happen out of that situation, but that's not something that's stopping anytime soon. And the amount of violence that's taking place and people slaughtering one another. I mean, and you see religion come into play, and territory come into play, and it fuels the situation. You know what I mean? And then you have governments like outside of this place extorting the hell out of that too. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they're not helping, and they're supplying arms to these people to continue that machine of death. You know what I mean?
The governments can be part of these problems.
They are the part of the problem. I mean, they're not the solution whatsoever. They're making money from this situation.
They're making money.
They're selling arms, and they're trying to build bases here. I mean, you know what I mean?
It's also something to think about. I think we as a society we don't have the interest that the governments will handle us as human beings.
True, but I don't think
it's two separate groups. You understand?
Yeah, you're right, but I don't think people take into consideration the hostility of the neighborhood we live in. And it's not just in Israel; it's outside of the country too. And like the countries that surround us, they all have problems. They all have their own terrorism, and they also have the internal fighting amongst themselves that also affect what goes on here too. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And that's why that makes the situation complex. But on the other hand, you see a story on CNN or Fox News or BBC or whatever, and it's just one-sided view. Look what the Israelis are doing, and they're bombing the poor Palestinians. What else are we supposed to do? I mean, how much? I mean, honestly, people always ask me, like, why can't you just make peace with these people? Are you like, really? I mean, intellectual people have sat down and brought their critical minds into the situation and thought what we can do and give them this and give them that, and it's still been unsuccessful. I mean, we're talking about people of intellect, not just people. Why can't you just make peace?
Well,
if peace was meant to be made, it would have been made already.
Intellect, it's not enough that the people will understand the meaning.
No, I know, but you see a lot of people, they want to continue like the two-state solution. For example, it's been something it's been for over 73 years already, and it has yet to work. Now,
listen,
the funny thing
will open the Torah, okay?
Right.
I don't care if they're non-Jews, okay?
Right.
And listen, what the God has to say about this. God wants two-state solution? No. We don't have an interest that this country will be half Muslim. We don't have this interest. Understand it? Don't understand it?
The funny thing is, this country's already half Muslim. Does it make a difference already?
It's not already half Muslim. It's just because we...
No, but you got millions of Muslims living here. Not just Muslims. You got other different groups of... you have 73 different groups of
I want to speak about this more openly, okay?
Yeah, sure.
We as the society has a problem inside of us. We are not respect ourselves enough, and some of us want to see to you like progressed people, and we may by mistake give those guys, those Muslims, those Arabs guys, more higher level than they are deserved here, because we are understand that the people that running them are against us, and we know it. And instead of lowering their obligations, instead showing them their place, we are continue to give them places that we don't want to give, okay? And we're lowering ourselves in order to that you guys will see us properly, and it's our mistake. It's our mistake. I personally think that we as a society, as an Israeli society, as a Jewish society, should understand our place in this world, and not to consider, not to so much consider human view of us, but to act in order to maintain our interest as a Jewish society, not to give them this people who are running out of hate, this level of this high level, because we are not do not respect enough ourselves. Okay, we should understand our place in the world, our goal in our religion, and to not give those guys the chance to destroy us. I understand something. If Arab guys will run the Israel, or have half of control of this country, it will be the end of the world. Understand it, please, because you cannot rely on them to keep the peace in the world. Those guys are not understand that every man should be liberal. Their religion is not acting this way. They gives the chance only to one kind of humans. They are not respect another religions, and they are not given enough place to all other people to be equal to them. So give those guys control, it's a mistake. And we as a Jews, some of us, like me, I think, understand it, okay? And I hope to that you understand this message coming from me, and it will do good to you.
I like that.
Okay.
No, I find it interesting, like, you know, we have checkpoints and stuff like that, yeah, to stop them from, like, slowing down, like, terror and stuff like that from coming here. And we have borders and walls and stuff like that. It also slows that down, which is helpful. Do I agree with it? Sometimes no. I think it should be open and whatever, but, you know, it is what it is. I'm not part of the government, but I mean, like, I do find it interesting. They can come here, go shopping here, come to restaurants here, go to the beach in Tel Aviv and stuff like that, but you can't go to there.
You don't want to go to there.
No,
Why?
but it used to be that you can go there. You can go to Jericho, for example, and
Okay.
and Bethlehem and stuff like that, and they weren't so hostile towards you. You know what I'm saying? They embraced you. They realized that tourists were coming, and it was
The money we're talking.
Yeah, and it was a way to make money for them and a living and stuff like that. I mean, like, you know, you can go to Hebron today and stuff like that, and there's like a whole street where there used to be tourism and stuff like that, and everything's closed. There's nothing. It hasn't been. It's been last 20 something last 30 years. It's been like that. You know what I mean? And you know, I mean, like, you know, you've seen in 2001 or whatever, the two soldiers who went into Ramallah by accident, you've seen what happened to them. They slaughtered them, ripped them apart, threw them from windows, and were going like this with blood and all this stuff of the soldiers and stuff.
Yes.
And ever since then, it's been such a hostile thing. And they're talking about apartheid with you and stuff. I mean, like, really, the funny thing, it's not apartheid like they don't consider the word apartheid like you perceive it in Africa when it was a separation between whites and blacks.
Mm-hmm.
They consider it as like you're more powerful than them, and you're oppressing them, and that's how they view it. I mean, how do you get apartheid from that? If you ask me, I don't. I mean, that doesn't even come into play if you ask me. But I mean, like, you know, do we police them, and do we on them like strongly? Yeah, you're probably right. We are. You know, we have no choice to be.
We are looking at them and we are hoping that they will evolve into something, and we are not seeing this.
I mean, honestly, I mean, if tomorrow we pulled out of the West Bank and stuff like that, it'd look exactly like Gaza. They'd be shooting rockets at us from there.
Of course.
You know,
we already did it in Gaza.
Yeah. I mean, and we try to give peace a chance. I mean, the biggest step we ever took was in 2005 when we gave them Gaza. We took all the people who were living there out, and there isn't one Jew living there. And they're saying that it's apartheid, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, how is it apartheid if we're not living there whatsoever?
Giving them more opportunity to destroy us is not helping the world.
Yeah, but
not helping
you see,
us.
their society is not a free society. You know what I'm saying?
Their society?
There's not a free society there. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, okay, you could live with us, I don't mind, but you know. I mean, if you hate our government, that's one thing. You know what I'm saying? That's cool. I mean, not everyone likes governments. I mean, governments always do bad things and they corrupt and whatever. I understand completely. You hate our government? No, they hate you as a whole. The government means nothing. I mean, they constantly, honestly, they target your kids. They enter settlements and stuff and murder whole families. And I mean,
there were cases like that.
There are many cases like that where
they're normal.
They slaughtered little babies in cribs and stuff.
And people there
and it was
who
for
are not
liberation of
terrorists.
Palestine, really.
Then people there who are not terrorists are actually not going against them. They are sit quiet.
Yeah.
Sit quiet. They have they have no problem with that.
I mean, there's been many times where I've gone to Jerusalem and stuff like that. And Jerusalem, it's an open city and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So you have East Jerusalem where you can walk down and go and do whatever you want. There's restaurants and tourist sites and stuff like that. And you go there and no one stops you because it's Jerusalem. But it is sometimes a hostile neighborhood and whatever. But like, you know, I've come and I've seen them with their camels and stuff like that. And you sit down and they give you a ride. Or you enter their shops and you have hummus and you eat falafel and stuff like that. Nobody says a word to you, you know what I mean? And they act respectful to you. They don't mind. And you can sit and talk with them. They talk with you. But I mean,
listen, I want to say to you something.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, the news shows such a different view than like what you know. You and I can go down and go see.
When we are, as the Jews, are in the power,
right?
Some of them understand it and act respectful towards us. You want to see the real face? Give them the power, and then you will see what they're thinking about you.
Right.
That's what I wanted to. That's why I choose to speak openly about this, because I cannot stand this lie of that people see me as a racist and do not understand the real situation.
Exactly, I agree with you.
You understand? If we were living in open world, we would see the real face of them, and if we were giving them this control on the government, we also will see the real face of them. When we are in the power, we are behaving equally towards one another. When they have this power, they have all the chance to humiliate us and to destroy us. So it's evidence to me, which I'm talking about this to you, not to give them this power. They are not deserve to receive this power. You understand me? For hundreds of years they were in the power,
Right.
and that's right that the Jews could live in those countries compared to the Christian countries. They were perceiving better treatment, but still it was humiliating and racism.
Right.
So these days, when we finally have our country, finally, because you didn't give us this country, no, you not. We our hands were fighting and taking this land towards us that God promised us, and
Not even promised, it commanded us. You know what I mean?
actually, yes, both.
But I mean, like, you realize what happened when Israel became Israel, you know what I'm saying? And we became a state. You've seen that all the Arab countries around us that actually had Jews in them, they either slaughtered what was left and kicked out the rest and took.
Actually, I heard that there was a lot of places where they handled the Jews pretty okay compared to the Christian countries.
Yeah,
okay?
true. But I mean, like, you know, once all the Arab countries after 1948, once Israel was developed and stuff like that, they kicked all the Jews out and stuff. They took their land, they robbed them and killed them and whatever. And a majority of them live here and stuff like that. Another interesting topic is you got a lot of people who would talk about the whole white-black thing in Israel and stuff, and 60-something% of the population is like somewhat of like what you call black because of the Sephardi view. People from who are Sephardi are people from Arab countries and stuff.
Okay.
In Ashkenazi, you have people from Europe and stuff, but a majority of people who live here from the beginning of the birth of the country were people from Arab countries and stuff like that who they're considered black. And you always see that view in the news too and stuff like that. Like they act like whites are taking over, and that's not true. I mean, the amount of stuff you hear in the news and what people want people to believe is like I mean, I ain't even got any words for it. You know what I mean? I mean, honestly, you can look up on the Google or reading books. I mean, the facts are there, man. You know what I mean? It's not like some secret, but the problem is that people don't want to know the facts. You know what I mean? They want to hear what this other person's saying, go along with it and whatever, which you get a lot of that today. And it's quite annoying because you're like, it's just like a level of stupidity, man. You know what I mean? But I mean, in my opinion, honestly, every man deserves his own land and his own home. But I mean, it's not just here that where you've seen people, like, you've seen people in governments worldwide conquer people and kill them where they stand and take their land and their homes. I mean, look at America with the Indians. I mean, God, how much people were in Russia and Europe. I mean, that were just ran over by people because, they took their land and everything they had. Because, this is, I guess, what, humanity really is. I mean, we're a conquering force.
But humanity can evolve into something better.
That is true. But I mean, like, it's like you see it like in the animal kingdom. You know what I mean? Like the strong thrive on the weak.
We can be animals, but also if we understand that there is God and He shows us the right ways, and not the power is over justice, but when the power is within the justice, and justice within the power, it's the only way to run the world.
When I come from America and I see like this such one-sided view towards the news and stuff like that about how things are, and I like to say honestly, I came as an angry person, you know what I mean? And
what?
And I had my dislike towards Palestinians, and especially when I came, I worked as a medic, and I'd go to bombings and I see people who were basically blown up from people who blew themselves up, and like the thought of, and that made me even more angry, you know what I mean? But after being here for so long, I realized, accepted, like, you should never listen to the news, man. You know what I mean? The news just will steer you in the wrong direction completely. I realized that, like, after some time, they're here, we're here, and like, it's interesting in how complex this place is. It works. But on the other hand, it shows you on TV that it doesn't work, even though it works. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And how it works, I have no idea. I can't even put that in words. But I realize that they need us more than we need them, and we need them more than we need. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
the media.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's a balance that you don't see that works, and this is something they don't talk about ever. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't know. I kind of find it fascinating, but I mean, I've managed to accumulate my views into like more of understanding and stuff like that. I mean, I came like as an idiot, you know what I mean? I came listening to the news and watching CNN over and over, showing they want you to hate, they want you to like pick a side. You
like
know what I mean?
to stay in the position where there is hatred in the world.
Yeah, but I mean, as they say, sheep, you know what I mean? You can either go with the flow like everybody else, or you can honestly make up your own mind and be like, okay, I see.
But it's hard.
It is, but I mean, you can see that, all right, I see how things are run, and I understand and stuff, and then, all right, this is my stance, not running with the flow, you know what I mean? And I'm like that, you know what I mean? I've made up my own mind and my understanding and whatever, and I know many Arab people and stuff like that, and I think they're good people, and they think I'm a good person, and you know what I mean? And sometimes we get together and it's not a big thing. I mean, we don't try to we don't tend to talk a lot about politics, but when we do, it gets a little heated because they have their view and I have my view and whatever. But I mean, at the end of the day, we're not trying to kill each other. You know what I mean? But you know, they have an understanding like you, and you have an understanding like them. Not all the time do we're going to agree that it is what it is, but I mean, a lot of people extort the situation and show one-sided view, and I honestly think that's dangerous because honestly, I think that gets people killed here because that extorts the situation. Especially like when I said like earlier when you know, when we want to talk about peace and we want to meet and we want to make, you know, life better for us and for them and whatever, and then the violence that takes place, you know. I mean, it's like the same thing, you know? But do I wish one day we have peace here and stuff like that? Well, I can't wait, man. Honestly, I don't think anybody can wait. You know, I mean, everybody wants it. They want it now. The question is, how are we going to put our differences aside and be who we need to be and put together?
I don't think we don't have to put our differences aside.
No, I know, but
everybody should understand.
Like I said in our last video, sometimes our pride, you know what I mean? That gets in the way, you know, courage.
I think our problem as a Jews, it's not enough pride. It's lack of pride. Seriously, it's my point of view.
No, I see your point.
You understand what I'm saying? It's
not
like trying to be right wing or something.
No, not at all.
It's not my purpose. I don't vote on Israel Parliament. Okay, for last 6 years I don't vote.
I haven't voted either myself. I think it's been a shit show, and I haven't bothered to vote because of that. You know what I mean?
I don't have I cannot be relied on politicians whatsoever. I know they are working not towards the interest of the people. Point. That's it.
I mean, if you're going to get the best results, you're going to go by yourself and do what you need to do, man, and meet who you need to meet.
I believe that
understand that culture, understand that people. You know what I mean?
That the person
that's going to come from you. You know what I mean?
Yes, the change can come from individual person. Like I start to respect Keith more than I do now, and he respects me and loves me more, and I understand my neighbor more, and I try to help him, and I try to understand him, not to get angry with him. And when you, as an individual, do this things that you choose to think and you choose to feel, and you choose to respond and to react, this is the main change in the world. Not when you give this power to the government, that this is government, do whatever you want to do. I will wait here and eat my popcorn, and I'll wait until you give me good things that you can present for me. I don't want this. I want that the change will be done here, inside of us, inside of the society. And this is my way to influence you, actually, to think the same way, like do your own choices. Not give this government the chance to destroy us as a humankind. Start to think by yourself. Think what is good for you, for all the people in the world. And when they try to do a war against our nation, think if it's good for your nation. Like American people did in Vietnam.
Yeah.
When they mostly decided that the Vietnam War is not okay, even though that Vietnam are communist and they are bad. You understand?
As far as I know, they still are today, and eventually, we see what happened out of that. I mean, you have the general flow of people who think, it's like, when you were in high school and stuff, like everyone, wants you to go with the popular people, and you gotta look this way and act this way. And
it's
whatever.
Like it's like a teen who thinks about his sex life. Don't think as this how he's evolving into a human being, as a responsible human being, and then after that he regrets all the choices he made. As a Russians, as a Soviet Union citizens, we were afraid of Americans. That's what I heard. They all constantly were afraid that America will bomb the Soviet Union. And what the Americans people also. And in the end, what you see, that the Russians do not want to fight Americans, and the opposite.
Well, yeah.
And who is to blame for the situation?
The bombs, there's going to be no winner.
And who? But who did this whole enemy
the government.
things? The government, two governments.
The two governments.
The two governments, right?
I mean, how long did the Cold War last? I mean, it was decades, man, and
If not still,
no, you still have some sort of tension and whatever, but it's not like it used to be.
and not like it used to be.
I mean, like, growing up, I mean, it was like, sit under the desk and like do like.
But still, like
because
American,
they're afraid of nuclear weapons.
but
gonna
still,
bomb
but
you.
still, sometimes I meet Russian people
Yeah.
who don't like Americans. Why is that? What Americans did to them?
No, I know.
Yeah,
It's
you
something
understand?
it's like stereotype. It's like in turned into them. You know.
But,
what I
but
mean?
stereotypes staying.
But this
You
is what,
understand?
yeah,
The
this
wor-
is
the
something
wor- the world
they
is-
grew up with, and honestly, if you don't change that kind of thinking, then like
With stupidity that ruins humankind.
yeah, you didn't excel yourself to become a little more, a little more wisdom. You know what I mean? I mean, I realize like Russians aren't bad people. You know what I mean? I know many Russian people. They came over in the '90s. I mean, they were cool to meet. You know what I mean? I met you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And we have nothing but love for one another, and it doesn't matter where we come from. End of the day, we're both Jews, so that's a plus.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Actually, without being a Jews, it was a little bit problem. We can, But also, I met people who weren't Jews. They're Americans, and I never was so pro Soviet Union.
Yeah. I mean, nowadays that's not even around anymore, or whatever. But I mean, you have the Federation of Russia now. But whatever, times have changed. It's interesting how, like,
But you
certain
can,
things have made certain things
but
happen.
you can understand from this example
Yeah.
how Israelis and Palestinians are not enemies as a societies. You understand me? It's like the same thing.
It's the same thing. The fact that somebody, people want people to believe that we're enemies. You know what I'm saying? I mean, honestly, here it's like living here. It's like a family dispute. They're a Semitic people. We're a Semitic people. We have the same DNA. I mean, like, it's a family dispute almost.
Okay. It's
I
not
mean,
for you. It's
s-
not for you to judge. Okay?
Exactly.
It's between us.
No, but I'm surprised sometimes the way people judge us, which I find like very like baffling. You know what I mean? I'm like, how could you? I mean, they judge, a lot of times you get people who judge us very harshly, and it's like they know nothing about what's going on here. So how do you judge somebody harshly if you have no idea what's going on here?
Because it's like if you want to stay at home in front of your TV and not go out and seek it for the truth, so judging is the easier choice.
That's true. And if you can never find the truth, then you've made your mind up already. You know what I'm saying? Look, I mean, you wish for the best for this place. You know what I'm saying? You wish for the best for both people. They're people just like you. I mean, honestly, if we wanted to do what they say, they like genocide them as they say they think that we want to do, which we don't. But I mean, it would take a day probably. You know what I mean? We have a very strong army, man, and this is why they think we're an apartheid state because of that. But we want to live with them, man. You know what I mean? We honestly want to live with other people who live. We also want to live with other crazies who live around us. Which is
we want to live aside of all people in this
exactly.
world. We have no problem with their unique things that they have to offer. Their culture is not enemy to us. They have lots of cool things, like.
Yeah. I mean, you get people who say like we want to take over their land and erase the idea of Palestine. We don't want to do that whatsoever.
Like we wake up in the morning and think how to destroy them.
I mean, you have settlements and stuff like that, and that's I don't really think that's a. People try to use that as a stepping stone to make peace and against making peace and stuff, which I find bullshit because
settlements. It's also Jews trying to live on Israeli land. That's all.
Exactly.
That's all. You want to see it as something bad?
You don't think Palestinians live in Israel? What do you call Israeli Arabs? Palestinians, man.
But
there's almost 2 million of them, man. I mean, a lot of them identify themselves as Palestinians if you ask them, and there's nothing wrong with that.
You know can define yourself wherever you want, man.
No, I hear you.
But in the end of the day, you choose how you to hate or to love.
Yeah, that comes from you and you as an individual. But I agree with you. But I mean, the way that this situation has been extorted and how people talk about one another and how they've made it in such an ugly situation. I mean, I watch news with disgust. Unlike the way they talk about it and the way that they talk about us and the way they talk about them and how they try to prop up one against the other. I mean, they're no different than some other government trying to do the same thing. You know what I mean? I mean, they're furthering a situation that honestly people in reality want to end. You know what I mean?
But the ending can, the way you end the situation,
Yeah.
it's also a difficult question.
Yeah.
You can end it wrong way. You understand?
I hear you.
So it's a dispute between us.
Yeah.
But we prefer disputing over killing. Also, you
That's
understand?
True. That's true. I mean, it's wrong to kill somebody. You know what I mean? I mean, even in their religion, it's wrong to kill people. I mean, yeah. I mean, they have a thing where it's okay for believers or whatever. But
Listen,
I mean, you even watching. I mean, I'm watching them slaughter themselves last 20 years in different countries around the country.
Listen, Kip,
because of the sect of their religion.
I met Arab woman that asked me if I'm hating her people. And I said no, but they have lots of critics towards your people. I told her the truth. And she trying to compare Judaism to Islam and to seek to things that are similar. And I told her not to do it. Please do not do it. Do not try to compare our religions, because our religions are not the same.
Yeah.
The only way to live side by side is if you respect me as a human being, and the opposite. This is the only way.
Honestly, I don't know how you can compare both religions because they're both different things. I mean, yeah, they've taken certain things from us and when they made their own religion, but there are two different directions altogether.
If a person is a Muslim, he
Yeah.
cannot fully respect Judaism because from his point of view is a wrong idea.
Right.
And the opposite. We should all understand we have opposite ideas inside of us. If we choose to respect one another,
You know what's interesting?
this is the only way.
There's 73 different sects of Islam, man. Not all of them are Muslim. You know what I'm saying?
But it's not.
I'm just saying they all have different views of how.
It's not.
They all have different views about
It's
Islam.
not our duty to judge them. You understand me, Keith?
No, I agree with you. I'm just saying that like there's different sects about.
It's their society. It's their choice to believe in Islam. It's their evolving. We are. I cannot be like people that like I'm coming from another religion, and I cannot solve arguments between them.
Right.
And I don't think it's my duty also.
No, there's an eternal struggle amongst themselves, and they have the
I
same. They have the
understand.
same problems too.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
yes,
So
yes.
if they
It's
can't do it
complicated.
themselves, we can't help them. You know what I mean?
We can offer them help if
We
they
can offer them
choose
whatever.
to
They choose
ask
to
us
take it,
what
you know
our
what I mean?
advice we can.
I mean, it's like the situation in Lebanon. It's a crisis. The country's about to implode, man, and we've offered to help. They don't take any of it. You know what I mean? They rather not. They rather take it or fail than compare to take it from. It's their pride. You know what I mean? It's their choice too. But I mean,
It's their choice.
we have no problem with them. Whatever we want to live with them. I mean, it would be cool to drive to Beirut sometime. And Lebanon's a beautiful place. I mean,
Yes.
it'd be cool to go to these other countries. But I mean, like because of the views and the way governments are and how people treat each other, it tends to make the situation difficult. It makes it complex and it makes it uneasy, and it's not something that's going to be solved and hasn't been solved in many years. It's going to take a long more time for that to happen, But I mean, well, hopefully one day, I mean,
When the evil is going to come down, the good people will get their prize. God will give them all the money, all the things they need to help those people that have this medicine, the food to their children. We are have compassion towards them, and we wish them to put aside all the disputes between us and live together side by side with peace.
Hopefully we have it one day. It'd be nice. I'm looking forward to it, man. It'd be, I don't know. I like change, man, and sometimes change is good, and hopefully that can happen. You know what I mean?
It will.
Because that'd be a whole other life that none of us have
It
ever been
will.
used to, honestly.
After we solve all those problems, we will handle other things. Don't worry.
Well, we have a long road to
It
go.
will come.
man.
It will come.
Yeah, we have a long road to go, man. Especially as human beings, to put our differences aside and how we think and change the way we think. I mean.